συμμετέχει σήμερα στη Σύνοδο των Υπουργών Άμυνας του ΝΑΤΟ, έχοντας ένα μακρύ ιστορικό υψηλών επιδόσεων και επενδύσεων στον τομέα της άμυνας. Προχωρούμε με σταθερά βήματα στον εξυγχρονισμό των ενόπλων δυνάμεων, με έξυπνες και μεθοδικές λύσεις, και αυτό αποτελεί μια ευίωνη προοπτική για τα αποτελέσματα της Συνόδου, τα οποία πιστεύουμε ότι θα αποτελέσουν το εφαλτήριο για την προσαρμογή της συμμαχίας στις νέες γεωπολιτικές εξελίξεις, όπως αυτές σήμερα διαγράφονται στην ευρύτερη περιοχή. Σας ευχαριστώ.
Good morning. So I'm Lithuanian Defense Minister, and one of the main messages that I hope will be clearly conveyed today, that we do have to go from air police to air defense, but we have to ensure that countries on the border with Russia and Belarus have to have enough resources and flexibility, speed of reaction and pooling of resources for air defense on the border is a priority for all of the alliance. Now, another message is that agreements of Hague Summit have any meaning only if they are up to date. We do not really need 5% for defense in 10 years or in 15 years. We do need them now. Lithuania has more than 4% this year, and we are going to have well over 5% since next year, because we understand that we are racing against time. And the first day that the front in Ukraine stops badly, that means that we will have to count not years, but months until crisis reaches us. So talking about Ukraine, Lithuania is going to contribute $30 million to Pearl today. We can transfer this money today if needed. And we're really hoping that the next package will be formed as soon as possible.
Madam Minister, Secretary General Rutte has said that Russian planes should be guided gently out of NATO airspace. Do you think that's an appropriate adverb?
Well, wording gently, I think, is very diplomatic. But in the current situation, of course, we have to send a very clear message that our airspace is our airspace. Yes, in certain situations, maybe pilots do get lost. Maybe things like that happen, like ships in the shadow fleet get lost over the cables and accidentally cut them. So we have a lot of confusion and a lot of inability to track their own actions from Russia. I hope you understand that this is irony. But in current situation, what we already have ability to neutralize objects in our airspace that pose danger to our citizens. When we talk about Gerberas or Shaheds, the drones that are armed or that can be armed, we need to take precautions and we need to react swiftly. Lithuania has changed legislation to ensure that there is no need for political permission for each time that an object needs to be neutralized. As a minister, I issued an order that Air Force can make that decision without waiting for political decisions. Also, closing airspace so that civilian objects are removed, and that NATO pilots, that fighter jets, can do their job without fear to damage civilian objects, is done also in Lithuania. I'm hoping that all other countries will ensure that caveats or exceptions that prevent immediate reaction by our Air Force are removed. as fast as possible. Nobody can have time in the sky for political negotiations.
Which actions do you expect from the US today when it comes to the use of long-range missiles for Ukraine and Russian targets?
I think this is something that we are all awaiting for a very long time. For Russia, strategic dilemmas is their tool, is their weapon. Russia is very good at creating strategic dilemmas for us. Are we finally ready to create strategic dilemmas for Russia? And strategic dilemma is not less reward or more reward. Strategic dilemma is more pain or less pain. And therefore, until Russia does not feel that they will suffer consequences of their war of aggression that would impair their ability to expand their military power, until then, everything else is just talk.
How do we make those consequences when we've been trying to hurt Russia since the start of the war?
There is a result, as you see. Their economy really does experience quite a lot of challenges. Percentage of federal budget which goes to military needs would not be sufferable for any normal country, for any democratic country. But we still have influx of cash through other countries, enablers of Russian war. So therefore, secondary sanctions really need to be full scale.
I really want to welcome Pete Hegseth here to NATO again, to the Defense Ministers meeting. This will be an important meeting because we had a successful summit in The Hague. And there is now much more cash on the table. There is firepower coming out of our defense industry, which is so important. And we are doing everything collectively to keep Ukraine strong. But I particularly want to thank President Trump and you personally for your leadership and the whole team for the fact that NATO is now much stronger, more lethal, but it is also fairer. Because we know that since President Eisenhower there was this constant irritant that, yes, NATO was there, the US was committed, but also had a clear expectation that EU allies and Canada would step up. And we took that historic decision in The Hague, thanks to your leadership, equalizing defense spending on this side of the pond and in Canada with what the US is spending. And I think that's extremely important. And I also want to thank President Trump and you personally again, and of course the whole American leadership team for the fact that when it comes to Ukraine, you decided to again make sure that they have what they need from the US, paid for by allies, and that program is now running. 2 billion committed so far, and today I expect many new announcements of countries who will participate. So, all in all, we are making great progress. Again, thank you so much, Pete, for everything you are doing. Mark.
It's great to see you. Great to see you. Absolutely. Great to be here. And Mark mentioned it, firepower. That's what is coming, we expect and is coming from NATO. And it was a historic summit just a couple of months ago, brought about by leadership of President Trump to say we need our allies to step up. And they did, and they have, in those commitments. Now those commitments will soon translate into capabilities, which is the most important aspect of it. And one part of that, of course, is Pearl, is the initiative where European countries buy U.S. weapons, transfer to NATO for the fight in Ukraine, to bring peace to that conflict. And if there's anything we've learned under President Trump, is the active application of peace through strength. Yes. You get peace when you are strong. Not when you use strong words or wag your finger. You get it when you have strong and real capabilities that adversaries respect. And I believe that's what NATO is doing. I believe that's what the Pearl Initiative is. So our expectation today is that more countries donate even more, that they purchase even more to provide for Ukraine to bring that conflict to a peaceful conclusion. I would also note a historic moment as well for a lot of things to happen, given what the President's been able to do in Gaza and throughout the Middle East. I think the world is seeing that we have a peace president who seeks that peace through standing by those that stand with the United States and stand for peace, which is what we saw there, and I hope we can see in Ukraine. So that's the focus of our efforts. We're going to be strong to bring that about, and thanks for having us.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. See you later today at the Pressers.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, media representatives. Today is an important day after The Hague. The defense ministers of NATO are meeting. Today also have a meeting among the European Union ministers as well. So it once more underlines the importance of cooperating, of synergy between two institutions, between the EU and NATO. It is important that we invest in military industry in Europe, actually to achieve the NATO military targets, capability targets. So that's why investment is crucial. What we have decided in The Hague, it must be also implemented, so the implementation stage is important. Latvia is doing its homework. Already we agreed that next year's budget will be almost 5% from our GDP, and 2027 it's more than 5%, so we are moving to implementing all those capability targets. The second important aspect, what we will be discussing today, of course, everything which is related to air defense. So air defense is crucial. So that's why Eastern Sentry, the NATO Eastern Sentry, is instrumental in providing also additional assets, but it's also about national activities. So nationally, it is important to build a especially system which is able to deal with drones, to counter drones. So detection, the countermeasures, and also integration command chains are absolutely crucial in this regard. Latvia has introduced acoustic detection system, one of the first such ones. So of course for us, the eastern flank, the eastern border, we must remember it's not just Latvia's eastern border, but it's also the external border of EU and NATO. Last but not least, always support for Ukraine. The Latvia provides 0.25%. We are contributing to Pearl initiative. So that's why those initiatives where we can buy and where we can acquire and additionally provide equipment for Ukrainian side is absolutely crucial. Latvia is also co-leading drone coalition, so drones still remain as crucial asset in the warfare. Yes, absolutely. Already we have stated it together, 3 Baltic countries, that we have to move from the Baltic air policing to air defense mission. In many ways, we already have achieved the Air Policing Plus, Baltic Air Policing Plus mission. What does it mean? It means that already last year, after the very serious incidents in our skies, when also the incident happened on Latvian soil, when Russian drone crashed, we immediately engaged actively with NATO, and the fighter jets, Baltic Air Policing, was also ready to take off, also to address and to potentially counter those objects in the skies, also potentially if they are drones.
What do you clear to you? Should it be harmonized among the allies?
Once more?
The rules of engagement among NATO allies, should it be harmonized?
Of course, it is important that we are always on the same page, that we are all on the same page strategically, that we are willing and also able to deal specifically under specific circumstances. And that's why, yes, we have different nations being part of Baltic Air Policing. So, of course, it is important that it's really also synergized and synchronized among the nations as well.
What do you respond to concerns that a shift from air policing to air defense would mean that we are no longer in peace operating times?
We are not formally at war, but we are not operating at peace times. Let's be also realistic on this one. We are absolutely facing the hybrid warfare activities, the cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns, weaponization of legal immigration, the incidents against critical infrastructure, and what we see recently, violation of airspace. So we cannot call it that we are living at a peacetime. So that's why we should respond also adequately. And Baltic Air Policing, which is now our plus, which would be rebranded, reframed as a Baltic defense, it would reflect those new realities, already not so new realities, but generally those geopolitical realities, first of all. And second, of course, it would also provide additional aspects how we engage under specific circumstances. So that's why, yes, we should move forward with Baltic defense mission.
Why is the use of American Tomahawk so crucial for Ukraine right now?
Well, every weaponry is crucial for Ukraine, weaponry which is also able to hit targets on aggressor soil. And these are legitimate targets, military bases, production lines. So certainly as Russia bombs, assaults civil infrastructure and kills civilians, for the Ukraine it is also a legitimate right to hit the military targets. So, because this is also self-defense. So that's also what NATO is absolutely projecting, that in any circumstances, if any scenario, we would be also willing and able to hit with deep strikes. And absolutely, this is the important part of defense and important part of deterrence in this case. And I think this would be also important part of Ukrainian defense and deterrence. Don't hit our targets because we can hit you back. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hi, good morning everybody. Bonjour, goedemorgen. Oui, tout va bien, absolument. So, my new airplane, it's great. It's great. We have 3. We wanted to have 4, but the 4th is coming. No, I'm very happy to announce today that we will sign an agreement with the Netherlands to have more missile defense system. It will be the NASAMS system, Norwegian system. We will buy NASAMS to protect our skies. And we're totally engaged within we did Eastern Sentry operation. We did a proposal, so we will talk about this today. We will have more anti-drone and detection systems as soon as possible. I will come to the government within 2 weeks with a dossier to buy more and to get them up and running before March next year. So it will go very fast. And I think that's the most important for today. We keep on supporting Ukraine, of course. I'm very happy to see Ukrainian people here at the headquarters, at the entrance, because we will keep on supporting Ukraine. We announced 100 million for the Pearl package, and we will see what we can do even more next coming days. We're having the budget discussion within the Belgian government for the moment. There's not agreement. We had the State of the Union was planned yesterday. We had to postpone it because there's not a deal for the moment within the government for the moment. But hopefully next week we will have an agreement, and then we will also discuss about what we're going to do more and what we can do in 2026 for Ukraine. Support package of 1 billion is on table, like we're doing every year. I think that will be no problem. And then on the frozen assets, it is a discussion that is in the hands of my Prime Minister, so I don't comment on that.
Could you tell us more about Belgium's plans for a dedicated drone unit and drone general?
Our drone general is there. I indicated him. He's the first drone general of the world, I think. So I indicated him, I think, 4 months ago.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome to this meeting of NATO defense ministers. This session will focus on how we will make our deterrence and defense even stronger, building, of course, on the historic decisions taken at the summit in The Hague to massively increase defense spending and defense production. We will discuss progress on implementing NATO's new capability targets, making sure we have the best armed forces ready to protect our people. We will also take stock of NATO's missions and operations and our new activity Eastern Sentry, which strengthens our security starting with the eastern flank. And we will launch further work to tackle the challenges we face from drones. We will also examine the progress we made to enhance the defense industrial base on both sides of the Atlantic, because military and industrial might go hand in hand. And we will address our steadfast support for Ukraine and for President Trump's unwavering efforts to secure a just and lasting peace. NATO continues to help Ukraine defend itself. This includes the most recent NATO initiative that has already channeled $2 billion of US equipment paid for by allies into Ukraine. And there's more to come. Our support is putting pressure on Putin today. And our support to help Ukraine strengthen its own capabilities for the long term will help deter any Russian aggression in the future. And this clearly contributes to our own security too. This concludes this part of the meeting. I want to thank the media for joining us, and then we will continue in a closed session. But to the media, thank you. We'll meet later at the pressers.